And coming up on News Desk, 2 police officers die in gory accident while responding to distress call on the Wale-Bolga Road. We have details. Meanwhile, an angry mob has attacked the police and smashed 2 of the vehicles for attempting to stop them from lynching a man alleged to have threatened a Muslim cleric in Tamale.
Succeeded in breaking our windscreens. Some of the vehicles were vandalized. 2 vehicles absolutely had their windscreens all shattered. Some of our officers also received some sort of beatings.
Berega community gets massive facelift ahead of funeral of the late mother of Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia slated for this weekend. We'll tell you more. Also, we have coming up in the bulletin business and sports. To stay tuned in, I'm Israel Live. Now, 2 police officers at Wale in the northeast region have died, while 3 others sustained severe injuries after their vehicle crashed in a fatal accident on the Wale-Bolga Road. The officers were said to be members of the Special Anti-Robbery Task Force responding to an emergency on the road when the incident occurred Thursday evening at Kareminga near Bolga. The deceased officers include the commander of the unit who was leading the operation before the vehicle suddenly veered off and ran into a ditch. The accident comes on the back of the deployment of over 300 security personnel to the municipal capital, Wale, ahead of the final funeral rites for the late mother of Vice President Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia on Saturday. Elias Sutanko has more.
Although police in the region have remained tight-lipped, the Director General of Public Affairs confirmed the incident in a statement. Eyewitnesses, however, claimed the officers were pursuing robbers when their vehicle suddenly veered off the road, somersaulted multiple times before crashing into a ditch after the driver allegedly attempted to dodge an approaching vehicle. They were rushed to the Wale hospital where the 2 were confirmed dead and the other serious injured. Both the bodies and the injured were later transferred to the Tamale Teaching Hospital and were being prepared to be airlifted to Accra for further examinations, according to the police. Several police officers thronged the Wale Government Hospital to catch a glimpse of their injured as well as former colleagues before they were taken away. Chairman of the Municipal Security Council was also at the hospital, but none of them was willing to speak with the media. It also comes as hundreds of security personnel are deployed in Wale ahead of the performance of the final funeral rite for the late mother of the Vice President, who is also the chairman of the National Police Council. Elias Sutanko reporting.
And we'll be getting back to Elias Sutanko for the very latest on the ground. In other news, police in Tamale were Thursday afternoon attacked by a mob attempting to lynch a man alleged to have threatened a Muslim cleric. 2 vehicles belonging to the police were also smashed in the process. The mob charged at the police for coming to the rescue of their victim. Northern Regional Crime Officer Superintendent Bernard Baba Ananga confirmed the incident to Joy News.
The story was just that the person dared those clerics, challenging them to come and burn his traditional worshipping idols. For that matter, some people were not happy about that and decided to look for him. So we went there. I immediately called the command and went there, joined by other officers, to go and rescue this gentleman. When we got there, the crowd was so thick. A lot of people were thronging that area in an attempt to catch a glimpse, others in an attempt to attack and then lynch him. Subsequently, the regional police commander mobilized more men, which proceeded to assist. We went there and met some opinion leaders of the mosques around the area and came to an agreement to rescue the said gentleman to police station to conduct investigations. However, some of the people, that is the mob, were not happy about that. So in an attempt to rescue the person, Some started throwing stones, others were also attacking the police. And we had to fire some few shots before we could get away. But along the line, they succeeded in breaking our windscreens. Some of the vehicles were vandalized. Two vehicles absolutely had their windscreens all shattered. Some of our officers also received some sort of beating somehow, but we managed to rescue the person to the police station. You know, and the Ghana Police Service, our core mandate is protection of life, and very necessary, very paramount. Before we then talk about our own vehicles that were damaged, we have brought him here for his own safety, and then also probably the safety of others, and also to assure the community that peace is the way forward in dealing with situations like that, and that we should not always take the law into our own hands when we want to deal with issues like that.
We're taking a break here on News Desk. We'll be back with you with more. All right, so we're returning to our earlier story on the attack on the police by the mob. We have joined his correspondent Martina Bugri joining us with more on that. So Martina, tell us more about the man being lynched and his comments in that viral video that caused the uproar in the first place.
In the viral video, the man is bearing a well-known cleric in the metropolis or the region, that if he believes that the God he's serving is indeed a God and he's destroying other people's gods, then he should try his God and see. He would die and more people would die if they try such a thing. And so this is what he said, and that didn't go well with the followers of this Muslim cleric. Some group arrested the young man and then sent him to a place near the mosque. And so these youth gathered, some wanted to lynch him, and so the police went to his rescue. It was in this process that the police was attacked.
All right, so this gentleman put out the viral video, and essentially the mob looked for him and found him.
Exactly so. I'm told that they fished him out from his hideout and then brought him. First, they sent him to the Ambaria mosque, and they said that he had mentioned a particular cleric's name. And so they should go to that cleric. And so he was sent to the Malam Basha place. The man himself had preached to the youth that they should let peace prevail. They should allow the police do their work and allow the laws of the land work. But the youth refused to listen. And so when the police, in their bid to get the man out of the place, they decided to attack the police.
Who's this man? What do we know about him?
The police have not given his name, except for his own security and then those around him. So they haven't given his name. From what I gather, the police say in their interrogation with him, he says that he's been asked to leave his community. And so that puts him in danger. That's why they cannot disclose his identity to the media.
All right, thank you very much, Martina Bugri. We also have the Northern Regional Crime Officer, Superintendent Bernard Baba Ananga, joining us with more. Now, has the command, good morning to you, first of all. Has the command effected any arrest yet?
They may not be able to have access to him. Meanwhile, investigations are ongoing to identify those persons that caused the victim's arrest. The command is interested and curious to know the reasons for all that instead of resorting to the law enforcement agency. Meanwhile, we sympathize with them for such acts or comments by any person who likely to say something against somebody's beliefs, which we know the Constitution guarantees each and everyone's belief. We are in talking terms with the Muslim community here to find the best way forward to ensure the safety of the victim in our custody.
All right, so you indicated that you're going after the people who effected the arrest of the attempted to lynch the man, but are you also looking out for the people who smashed and destroyed the police property?
For now, we are also curious to know. However, it's a delicate situation which we don't want to be high-handed in some of these things. As I said earlier on, we are in talking terms with them, and we also want to have some words with some of them to see the way forward. We know Tamale here is an Islamic community. Mostly, most of the members here are Muslims. For such comments to be made and posted on the social media, we, the command here, disagree with the victim's stand. However, we need to do all that possible to ensure his safety and to make sure that people do not take the law into their own hands to attack people or, in effect, vandalize police vehicles. Some of our members or some of our personnel were also attacked in a way because they were not happy that we came in early to rescue him. However, we are taking a stand which is negotiable.
Now, Superintendent Ananga, you indicated earlier that the gentleman who was almost lynched is in your custody. Are you keeping him safe? Is he still with you?
Yes, he's still with us. In our custody. We are keeping him in a secret location for his own safety.
What next for the police on this?
Our investigation is also ongoing. We want to identify certain differences and also for the clerics to talk to certain groups of people to soften their stance.
All right, but I'm sure you also don't want to give the impression that people can attack police property and vandalize police property and get away with it.
Of course, yes, it is always so. However, the community that you find yourself, certain things are bound to happen. We are also not happy about our properties being vandalized. But in such situations, as the public officer, these things are bound to happen. We also expect that those to happen.
All right, thank you very much, Superintendent Bernard Ananga, who is the Northern Region Crime Officer. But let's go back to the story about the two policemen who were killed in a car crash along the Wale-Wale-Bolga Highway. Ilyasu Tanko now joins us with more on that. Ilyasu, where exactly did this accident happen and at what time of the night?
Well, the accident, we are told, happened near the Karaminga community on the Wale-Wale-Bolga stretch of the Tamale-Bolga Highway. And according to the police, these officers, 5 of them, were responding to an emergency they are yet to disclose when the driver veered off from the road, and crashed into a ditch. Our understanding is that there was an approaching vehicle and the driver tried to dodge. Unfortunately, the vehicle veered into the ditch after it somersaulted multiple times. And the occupants, 2 of them died instantly. And the 2 include the commander of the unit. And 3 of them were also seriously injured. From there, they were moved to the Wale-Wale Government Hospital, where the 2 were actually confirmed dead. The 3 were managed, and subsequently both the bodies and the injured were transferred to the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Our interaction with the police here indicate actually there are lots of senior police officers here. So when the incident happened, a lot of them came to the hospital, and the arrangement was made that the officers should be flown to Accra. And so we understand that the injured officers are being prepared to be taken to Accra for further investigation.
Now, this incident is happening at a time that security has been beefed up in the region while we're still recording cases of insecurity on the road.
Well, actually, it also happens exactly a year ago when one officer died and 3 others were also seriously injured in similar incident on the same road, actually. And like we said, currently there are lots of police security personnel in the municipal capital as a result of the funeral rites of the mother of the vice president. But what we understand is that there was an approaching vehicle. The driver tried to dodge and unfortunately veered into a ditch.
All right, thank you very much, Ilyasu Tanko, bringing us that update on that unfortunate incident involving the 2 police officers who died in that crash. Now, the Barega community in Wale has seen a drastic facelift as part of preparations for the final funeral rites of the late mother of the Vice President, Alhaji Mamadou Bawumia. Ahead of preparations for the ceremony on Saturday, roads, street lights and some abandoned projects in the community are being fixed overnight. Residents of the community have been reacting to the development with lots of excitement. Correspondent Ilyasu Tanko has more.
Vice President Alhaji Mamadou Bawumia has arrived in his hometown Wale along with several other dignitaries for the funeral of his late mother Hajia Mariama Mumuni, who died last month after a short illness. The funeral ceremony is slated to begin Saturday and end on Sunday, with thousands of mourners, including the president, expected to be in attendance. As part of preparations, however, the Piriga community has received an unprecedented facelift. There have been overnight constructions of new roads, street lights are being fixed, and heaps of rubbish being cleared in the area. This road, which links to the private residence of the vice president and had been abandoned as part of the Wale Township Roads project, has suddenly been worked on. The same with this road at other end, which links directly to the funeral ground. The Piriga Primary School, which is the venue for the ceremony, has also witnessed some form of renovation. The development has left the community members talking instead of mourning. Assemblyman for the area, Sedi Donko Isa, however, says the people are thankful to the authorities for the ongoing works.
For them saying that the street lights were not there, for me, they may be right in a way, but there were street lights in the electoral area before. They have been added, some have been replaced, because we were just appealing to the assembly to come and do some maintenance. But since they have come, they have replaced some of them. And we are very happy. About the rules, it's a welcome news to us. It's like once a man said, when they were coming to do it, one of them said, this is an opportunity for us. And it's like a by-election. So we are happy for them coming to do some roads for us.
The municipal chief executive Arumia Osomolake, who is a member of the funeral planning committee, denying the residents' claim while giving details of the funeral arrangements.
People may say whatever they want, but the truth of the matter is that this is a contract that was awarded even when our mother was still strong. And you could see what of the roads that have been tied already. We have the Kukwasgu roads that have been tied, the Wale Wungu road that have been tied, the Wale Tambulungu road that have been tied. Who now associate that one to death? We don't wish that. But it would have been a good news if we have our mother passing on, and that also brings development to us. It's not bad at all, but that is out of order, because we already have our contracts in order and the contractors are working.
The MCA also said measures have been put in place to ensure a successful funeral ceremony.
As we speak, we have over 300 police personnel that are going to deploy between Wale and its surrounding. And a lot of checkpoints will also be there to make sure that those who are coming are not affected by anybody. But you can see that security situation in Wale has improved tremendously. For the past 3 months or so, we haven't even heard of an attempt of robbery in the municipality. From today, the clerics, especially the ulama of the Muslim Council, will start prayers for our departed mother from today up to tomorrow evening, which will continue with traditional activities. We'll have a lot of cultural dance and other events. The final of Musketeers will start from tomorrow Friday up to Sunday morning. Then after Sunday morning, they will now have the official program. I think everything is in order. We are praying to the Almighty Allah to guide us to have a successful program.
Ilyasu Tanko reporting.
And correspondent Ilyasu Tanko is back on the line on the back of the significant improvement in development being undertaken in the Perega community. Ilyasu, tell us more about these abandoned projects and what kind of projects are they and how long have they been abandoned?
Well, there is a construction of township roads. Those roads were part of the Wale Township Road project, but it was abandoned. And as I speak to you now, the road has been constructed. It has actually been tarred. And this road links the vice president's private residence to his family house and also to the funeral ground as well. Those roads, there are two actually that were left abandoned in the Perega community. Those roads have been constructed as I speak to you now. And there's also the fixing of street lights that have broken for some years. The Perega community still lacks electricity. There's still a problem with the electricity coverage in that particular area. But as I speak to you now, there is extension of electricity in the area. These street lights that are broken are currently being fixed. And there's also currently the clearing of heaps in that particular area that has been left in the area for a while now. They are being cleared. And the weeds, bushes that have grown in the area are also being cleared. There's a school where this funeral is to be held. This particular school, when I visited there, I saw that the school has received some form of renovation. It has been painted, actually. And so these are some of the projects that is currently ongoing or that are currently ongoing in the area as a result of the preparations for the final funeral rites of the mother of the vice president, the late mother of the vice president, actually. Now,
Ilyasu, are you able to say if these projects, especially the road projects, you get the impression that this is a contractor who probably wants to, impress the vice president by deciding to just complete the road?
Well, my understanding is that because of the number of dignitaries and because of the authority figures that are coming into the area, it was part of the plans by the funeral planning committee to ensure that all these are done. And so this is clearly a new contractor that is currently undertaking this work in the area. What we are understanding is that this is a plan by the committee chairing this funeral arrangements. And so they plan that they are going to ensure that these projects are completed in the area before the arrival of the mourners to the area.
If it's been undertaken by the funeral planning committee, does that then suggest that this is being paid for not by the state?
Well, we have not been able to get the details as to who is funding this particular project, but I spoke with the municipal chief executive, and he confirmed that indeed these were part of the arrangement put in place by the planning committee. But as to who is funding this particular project, we are unable to tell for now.
All right, thank you very much, Ilyasu Tanko, bringing us that update there. In other news, Santahino Tumfote Tutu II is requesting the establishment of a monitoring team to ensure judicious use of Stool land's revenue. 55% of the amount accrued to Stool land revenue is allocated to the district assemblies for development. The Santahini believes there is the need for the public to have full details of the use of the revenue to ensure development. Nana Aljima was at the 25th anniversary celebration of the Office of Administration for Stool lands and filed this report.
By law, 55% of revenue collected in Stool lands is allocated to metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies for development. 25% of the allocation is given to stools, while the traditional authority gets 20% and the Office of Administrator of Stool lands maintains 10% as administrative charge. Chief of Domiabra Asante Achem, Bafo Osubediakon, represented the Asantehene at the event.
They owe it a duty to account to Nananom and our subjects the judicious utilization of our revenues. Unfortunately, our people mistakenly demand accountability from Nananom when indeed Clause 6 of Article 267 of the 1992 Constitution enjoins Nananom to use their stool shares of the revenue for the maintenance of the stool in keeping with its status. There is the need to fashion out monitoring and evaluation team comprising the OASL, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development with respect to the use of these revenues by the MMDAs.
President of the National House of Chiefs says the MMDAs have failed to utilize their share of the fund to benefit their areas. Ojehoho Yaojebi explains.
My second observation is the completion of developmental projects by MMDAs. We congratulate them, but let me also take this opportunity to warn those who use the money to collect garbage. We should cease from using the money to collect garbage, because garbage, once it is taken, it is very difficult to go back to account for the quantity that was taken, and that is where the leakage is.
Meanwhile, illegal mining in parts of the country is negatively impacting stool land revenue. The destruction of lands in the quest to mine for gold has rendered them useless. There are therefore no occupants to fulfill traditional obligations in ground rent. Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Ebujinapo, explains the success of the war against illegal mining will increase revenue accrued through stool lands.
Already, we are dealing with illegal mining, which in some parts of the country have destroyed stool lands and negatively impacted on stool land revenue. I will crave the indulgence of Nananom to continue to work with us in the fighting against this canker. We are also pursuing an aggressive afforestation scheme which will see to the reclamation of some degraded stool lands to make them economically viable.
The Office for Stool Lands have reiterated their preparedness to work with stakeholders in the improvement of collection and use of stool land revenue. Mame Ama Edumaze Akwa is administrator.
The Office of Administrator of Stool Lands consults with schools and skins and other traditional authorities in all matters relating to the administration and development of stool lands and makes available to them all relevant information and data. Similarly, the office coordinates with all relevant public agencies and traditional authorities and stools in preparing policy framework for the rational and productive development and management of stool lands.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
The Ahafo region has an estimated 8,507 people living with HIV/AIDS, and according to the Regional Health Director, Dr. Boating Boache, 4,149 out of the number know their status, while 4,152 are on treatment as of August 2021. With the prevalence rate higher than the national figure, the current situation in Ahafo is said to be below the HIV epidemic control target. At an inception meeting at Goso, Dr. Boache said a collaboration with USAID Care Continuum Project will help improve the situation. Precious Semevo has more.
With a 2.1% HIV prevalence in the Ahafo region, higher than the national prevalence of 1.6%, the situation is 49-10-73. This is below the HIV epidemic control target of 95-95-95, where 95% of all persons living with HIV know their status, receive sustained antiretroviral therapy, and have viral suppression. Speaking at a project inception meeting at Goso, Regional Health Director Dr. Boating Boache said to achieve the target, they have collaborated with the USAID Care Continuum Project and partners to replicate the Western region's success story in the Ahafo region.
The USAID PEPFAR conducted a scoping visit to the Ahafo region to assess our HIV prevalence and care situation with a view of offering support towards strengthening the care continuum for HIV clients. We are therefore extremely grateful to the USAID for extending this collaboration to our region, especially within our context of being a resource-constrained greater region. It equally offers you another unique opportunity to demonstrate effective strategies to achieve that slogan, 95-95-95 epidemic control in the Ahafo region, as you did in the Western region.
He enumerated constraints that continue to hinder their forward march towards the set goals.
There's low VAR, low coverage, low early infant diagnosing testing coverage, poor linkage rates, low testing yield standard at 3%, not just like about, inadequate training staff on ART management and data capture of HIV is also a challenge. Inadequate ARTs, the level is not enough, we need to expand. Stigmatization and discrimination of HIV positive clients is still a challenge. We are committed to scaling up effective case finding, linkage and retention strategies, and provide the needed congenial work climate for you and your associates and indeed other partners to contribute to accelerate the attainment of overall national epidemic control goals.
The Care Continuum project, funded by the U.S. government, is designed to improve the capacity of its partners and provide quality HIV services. Zora Balsara is the USAID Country Director, Health, Population and Nutrition Office.
I want to assure you that USAID, CDC, and the full United States government FR team is standing by your side. Working from behind in partnership with the Western region, we have improved testing yields, linkage rates, and viral suppression. The success in Western region allowed us to justify further investment in Ghana and are now expanding to Western North and of course Ahafo region. And each one of us have to be committed to actually achieve these goals.
The Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Etuahene Treme, expressed worry about the additional burden on the new region and assured them they are working to achieve the target by 2025. Ahmed Ibrahim, Bono Region Coordinator, spoke on his behalf.
The Western region is firmly positioned as the first region in Ghana, if not in West Africa, to attain epidemic control. This should present a solid assurance to the people of our region that with the needed cooperation and support, the Care Continuum team will make a difference.
Precious Semevo, Joy News, Goso.
Members of the Fulani community in the north are calling on the country's security agencies to stop the criminal profiling of the ethnic group. The group says the labeling of Fulanis as armed robbers, rapists, violent and non-citizens has inspired stereotypes and discrimination and contributed to the justifications of violence against Fulani herders by the host communities. General Secretary of Fulani Welfare Group Alhaji Musa Bari made the appeal at the Fulani emergency meeting in Gusau.
The emergency meeting was held at the Gushegu Municipal Assembly in response to the decision by the Gushegu Municipal Security Council to ban only members of the Fulani from riding motorbikes after 6 p.m. The Fulanis also alleged that immigration officials were conducting a registration exercise in which they were being captured as non-Ghanaians. The Gushegu Municipal Security Council allegedly arrived at the decision following an increasing spate of kidnappings and robbery attacks suspected to be carried out by Fulani elements. At the meeting attended by the MCE, staff of the Immigration Service and other members of the Municipal Security Council, the Fulanis rejected the ban and asked the Security Council to withdraw it forthwith.
I'm calling for our new head of security in this district to put his mind about this issue, about putting curfew on only Fulanis will never solve the problem. And we are not agreeing on that. Per law, it is not acceptable. If you want to ban the bike from 6 to 6, ban every bike not to move 6 to 6, fine. But singular, only one tribe, we call it unacceptable.
General Secretary of Tabital Pulaku strongly condemned the decision as ethnic profiling and called on government and local authorities to stop the ethnization of crimes in the country.
So I'm calling on our security experts to look to this issue very, very well. Singling only one tribe as the most dangerous tribe in the country is uncalled for. Let's sit and look to it. Fulanis were found in this country over 300 years ago. So I challenge those who are saying Fulanis are not Ghanaians or there is no Fulani in Ghana. That is the challenge I'm standing here to hear, especially to our immigration officers. That is where we have that problem.
The Immigration Service, which was accused of pursuing biased policies against members of the Fulani ethnic group, denied all the allegations. Here is the municipal OIC, Abubakar Abdul Samad.
The Fulani leadership actually made a statement. It was categorical that it's their own people that are committing the crime. So until they themselves are ready to stop perpetrating such acts, the crime is never going to end. That was why they proposed to MUSEC that MUSEC should ban all Fulani herdsmen from riding in the municipality from 6 p.m. until daybreak. So it is not something MUSEC or Security Service has imposed on them. It was an agreement to the Fulani leadership as to how we will curb the menace that is happening.
Founder and leader of the Press Chapel, Bishop Charles Ojenisare, has cautioned the military against indulging in unlawful takeovers amid the myriad of unresolved challenges facing the ordinary Ghanaian. Speaking at the annual Security Services National Day of Prayer held at the Garrison Methodist Presbyterian Church, Abemacamp here in Accra, Bishop Ojenisare admonished the military not to allow greed and love for money to drive them to seize power in the country.
In our sub-region, we are seeing coup d'etats and power grabs like in Mali, Chad, and Guinea. These show soldiers who are no longer under authority but have made themselves the authority. Bad as it may seem, I would lay much of the blame on the political class of those nations. They changed constitutions to suit their selfish ambitions and increase their salaries without increasing those of the ordinary citizen. Many entered into politics without much, but in 4 years owned houses and fleet of cars, whilst the populace lacked basic amenities. Once many of these politicians came to power, they became autocratic or tin gods who could not be criticized without unleashing their attack dogs on the critics. Some governments have also turned the civil and public service upside down by sacking competent people and replacing them with party faithfuls, some of whom are very incompetent. The governments also engaged and pretended over economic mismanagement. People's protests constantly fell on deaf ears and did not result in any meaningful change. It also shows that the people's demand for change does not just lie in the ECOWAS heads of states always sanctioning coups when they happen, but rather advising the heads of states to also abide by their constitutional mandates and not to make the nation about themselves without considering the people and their suffering. In our dear country, Ghana, we don't want the men in uniform to be in politics. In short, we don't want a coup d'etat. Is it that we don't have problems like we see in the sub-region? We do have the same problems. Be content with your wages. It is true that most military and service personnel are poorly remunerated. Even though your job requires you to defend the citizenry, sometimes at the risk of your own lives, it is very unfortunate that your salaries are often not commensurate with your responsibility. That notwithstanding, taking bribes ends up affecting the same people you swore to protect. The Bible says in Deuteronomy chapter 16 verse 19, you shall not pervert justice. Please don't let greed or the love of money drive you to want to do a coup d'etat.
He also cautioned the soldiers against brutalities against citizens because it could lead to insurrections.
Do violence to no man. I watched videos of ordinary citizens being brutalized by servicemen for stealing a serviceman's phone. Some of the people were made to roll over in the streets, others forced into drains, others beaten and battered in Wa. The president of the nation had to apologize to the overlord of the Wala traditional area this July. Happened when armed officers who accompanied officials of VRA and NECO to arrest persons stealing power and mercilessly whipped those suspects before arresting them. Even some suspects in handcuffs were not spared. They were brazenly brutalized by the police in the full glare of cameras. I also saw on Joy News stories of people beaten, ladies raped, property vandalized by service personnel in other parts of the country. A wise man said, and I quote, "With great power comes great responsibility," unquote. Unfortunately, it seems some servicemen think that with great power comes great invincibility. Because they carry a gun and have physical strength, some soldiers and servicemen have forgotten that they enlisted in the army and the police and other service agencies to serve the people. But instead they subjugate the weak and the helpless. When Peter tried to use violence to silence a certain group of people, Jesus rebuked him, saying, "They that live by the sword will die by the sword." We could rephrase this to say, those that use violence will also suffer violence. It is just wrong to do violence to innocent people. Moreover, the violent treatment of people breeds radical terrorists, because for some, after 3-4 years, when they have still not seen justice, they therefore seek to take the law into their own hands or easily join terrorist or rebel movements.
So we have an update on the accident involving some police officers on the Walewale-Bogatanga Road. The police have just issued a statement, says update on Walewale-Bogatanga accident involving police officers. The Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Okufu-Dampare, early this morning arrived in Tamale in the northern region to visit 3 police officers who were critically injured in a fatal accident yesterday evening, 21st of October 2021 on the Walewale-Bogatanga Road. 2 other officers sadly died on the spot. All the 5 were members of the anti-robbery squad who were responding to an emergency on that stretch. Processes are underway to airlift the 3 injured officers to Accra for further treatment. The members of the Police Management Board have also visited the families of the 2 officers who passed on to commiserate with them. The police administration wishes to thank the Ghana Armed Forces, particularly the Chief of Defense Staff, Vice Admiral Seth Amwama, and the Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal Frank Hansing, for their collaborative effort in airlifting the injured personnel. We are especially grateful to the Northern Regional Police Commander, COP Mr. Timothy Yusa Bonga, the doctors and staff of the Tamale Teaching Hospital and the Walewale Government Hospital, their dedication and for care for our injured colleagues. We would like to thank the general public for their prayers and support. And this was signed by the Assistant Commissioner of Police and Acting Director General of Public Affairs, Kwesi Fore. We're taking a break now. We'll bring you business news next. And in business, some entrepreneurs in the Ashanti region have received business development training to expand their businesses. The training, which spanned for 6 months, saw at least 10 entrepreneurs equipped with various business skills to ensure their sustainability. There's more in this report.
The Green Incubation Program, which was organized by SNV Ghana, provided training for entrepreneurs in agriculture, renewable energy, and energy efficiency and water, sanitation and hygiene sectors. Senior Incubation and Acceleration Advisor of the Green Project, Genevieve Parker-Chum, reviewed most of the participating SMEs have seen drastic improvements in their enterprises.
At SNV, we are responsible for 2 main results, that's employability and entrepreneurship, providing support for entrepreneurs. And so what we are doing today is the graduation ceremony of the first cohort of entrepreneurs that we've supported in the incubation program. They have gone through 6 months of training. They were posted to the hubs, and we've worked with Kumasi Hive, Hyperspace, Women's Haven, and then Recycle Up here in Kumasi. And they've gone through a period of 6 months where they were given support for strengthening their operations. First of all, some of them had not even registered their businesses, so we helped them to do that. And then they were given support for strengthening their core businesses, putting their finances and their records and all that together. And then you know, getting ready such that they can actually be ready for investment. And we've also not just provided the support for training, but also introducing them, exposing them to potential investors so they have discussions, find out what exactly investors are looking for and how they can prepare themselves to be able to access the investment. One other key thing that we've done with them is to help them expand their market.
The training program, funded by the European Union, saw entrepreneurs being equipped with skills during sessions organized by Recycle Up Ghana, Kumasi Hive, Women's Haven, and Harper Space. The entrepreneurs were taken through business formalization, resource acquisition, business plan writing to access funds and grants, employability skills, product planting, and development skills. One of the outstanding SME awardees, Foster Osai, indicated the training has had a tremendous impact on a startup business.
This program has been beneficial to me in so many diverse ways, where it has helped me to streamline formalize my business. Through this, I've been able to come up with product. When I came here, my product wasn't in the market, but through their help and their motivation and the training I went through, I'm now in the market and I'm producing in a large quantity right now.
Reporter for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
Entrepreneurs must step up their game in ensuring that their businesses have good corporate governance policies. That's according to Communications Officer at the Stanford Seed Transformation Network, Karen Evantham, who believes accessing credit facilities could be much easier if the best practices are observed. She spoke with Joy Business after this year's Stanford Seed Transformation Business and Leadership Conference to address challenges faced by business owners.
So the whole concept of the transformation program is to take businesses that are growing to help them to scale up. So we are on this transformation journey. So each year we look at things that are facing or are hurting the various businesses, and we see what we can bring on board to help them to scale up. So the transformation continuum, which simply means continuous transformation, is to help, we are just recovering from the COVID, which impacted quite a number of the businesses. And so we are here to arm them with how to stabilize and then to reboot, basically, to help them to move on to continue with the transformation journey that we all are on. The reason why we also focused on access to funding is after you are done with the business plan and you have the big ideas, you've done your dreaming, you've done your market assessment and everything, now you need to actionalize that plan. So, and you can't just, a lot of times you need to put some money behind the plan to make it work. And we realize that a lot of the businesses are suffering from sometimes even readiness to even get the funding. And for those who are ready, where the funding is. And so we brought the stakeholders who have some funding available to help those businesses that are ready and prepared to access the funding. So before you get into funding, you have to be prepared. You don't just, it doesn't just happen. So even the getting ready for the funding is a process. So we help the businesses to prepare to receive the funding, and then when they are ready, then we give them the access to those who are ready with the funding to support them.
And that'll be all for business. All right, so it's time for sports, and good morning to you. So the CAF president is in town, and apparently he's been saying some nice things about Ghana, saying that Ghana can win the World Cup. Really?
Yes.
Really?
I was at the press briefing yesterday, and he made that point to explain something, because someone asked the question as to why all the big guys are in the same group of every competition. So he was trying to say that in Europe, if the World Cup draw comes out, he would be happy to see Brazil, Germany, Portugal, all the big guys in the same group, so that when they progress to the knockout phase, they are going to meet strong oppositions from Africa. So he was trying to make that particular point, and that was why he said Ghana can win the World Cup. It's potentially we can, because we came closer at 2010. So, well, that is his opinion. But for now,
yes, we can. Yes, we can. All right, but let's also look at to the fixtures that we have for this weekend in the EPL.
Yeah, we've got big fixtures, not just in EPL, but across Europe.
Right.
In the English Premier League, Liverpool will travel to face Manchester United at Old Trafford.
Okay.
So that is an extremely big tie.
Is it really that big?
It's big because they are the two biggest clubs in England, and United want to bounce back.
Considering the form of Man U right now.
Yes, but this is a game that form does not really matter, because it's a game that is played with passion, with determination, with rivalry. So
essentially, Ole is going to tell the people why he should stay.
He has to step up. He loses that game, he's in trouble.
All right, okay, but we have several other games.
Yeah, even in the Spanish La Liga, Real Madrid and Barcelona lock horns as well on Saturday.
That will be interesting.
That's a very, very big game.
That's a cracker. All right, so, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. We do not have any more time, but that'll be it for News Desk. I'm Mr. Live. Thank you very much for watching. We have midday coming up. Join us today coming up at 12. Do stay tuned in. You have a wonderful day.